Hello, I'm Tom Dowling, and I was the exped leader of Durham University Iceland expedition 2009. This expedition was kindly supported by the RGS, the Gordon Foundation, and Durham University. 8 students and Dr. Dave Evans, a lecturer at Durham University, travelled to Iceland over August-September 2009 in order to carry out individual dissertation research that would meld together into a final report that answered questions regarding the state of the previously little-studied Icelandic glacier of Suðurjökull and the impact the changing climate is having upon it. Unfortunately, we failed to gain access to the original target glacier due to a number of obstacles. Therefore, the decision was regretfully taken to turn back and reassess the location of our research. Having consulted both the map and the experience of Dr. Evans, it was decided to relocate the expedition to the northern margin of the smaller ice cap of Murdasjökull, where we would examine the glacier of Sléttjökull. This glacier is non-surging in nature and had been the subject of a relatively small body of previous work by a research team largely based in Holland. Therefore, we were able to conduct research with similar aims to that originally envisaged, as well as attempt to validate the work carried out by the previous workers. However, 3 days into the expedition, the remnants of a storm system hit the foreland. Strong, gusting winds drove rain in at 90 degrees, uprooting the tents and swelling proglacial rivers until they swept over large parts of the foreland. With 2 members of the expedition having been swept off their feet in rivers whilst getting back to base camp, and thus being soaked to the skin, the decision was taken to evacuate. Those who were coldest went first with one Land Rover and Dr. Evans, 4 others remaining with the bulk of the kit and the second Land Rover to await his return some 3 hours later. Never did a diesel engine sound so sweet. Ultimately, all persons and the majority of equipment were moved to a safe campsite in the nearest village of Vik. Once the weather had cleared, the expedition reorganized and moved back to the foreland to complete the research. Our research methods were varied, consisting of relatively new techniques, such as the dating of boulders through the use of a Schmidt hammer, essentially testing how hard a surface is to gauge how long it has been exposed to the elements for, to the more traditional logging and examination of sediment exposures. The conclusions of this research were threefold. Firstly, that whilst the foreland can be used to reconstruct glacial response to climate change since the Little Ice Age, it cannot be used for periods of time later than this, due to the highly erosive nature of the landscape. Secondly, the dating of these responses is well established. However, dating techniques need to be very careful in how they account for local influences upon the material being dated. And finally, that the previous work carried out in the area, whilst valid for the time which it was conducted, had failed to identify certain key events and processes taking place at the margin. Namely, the seasonal freezing of the margin to the bed and the development of relatively extensive proglacial lakes.